Welcome back. I will hand things over to Chris and Anna Marie.
Hi, everyone. So here at the Ohio State University Libraries, we've been working on WCAG 2.1 AA accessibility in terms of our content in our Hyrax repository called Digital Collections. Slide. So Digital Collections we haven't moved to Valkyrie yet, so it's a pre-Valkyrie version of Hyrax. And we don't manage scholarship in there. We are managing digitized and born digital special collections and archival materials. I will warn you, though, our public GitHub repository is not up to date. We have most of our updated code behind a secure location. So Chris is kindly sharing a lot of screen grabs. So Chris, why don't you take it away?
Okay, sure. Thanks, Anna Marie. So the ADA, their final ruling said that we have to comply with WCAG 2.1 level AA by next April 24th. Did you want to say anything more about that, Anna?
No, I think we'll leave it at that because you've got a lot of great slides. So everyone, we are going to share our slides so that you can check things later. But this is very high level information that you may or may not be familiar with in terms of alt text and captions that are required according to WCAG and the American with Disabilities Act. And I'll also say accessibility is just a societal good. It helps all users.
Yeah, so we are trying to address those three things, alt text and captions and transcripts for file level images, not at the work, but at the file level. We're adding a new metadata property that will still show that their alt text is an empty string when nothing is provided for images. This is an example that we had a drawing of a costume design for Passage to India. So for that, if the user goes in down to the items at the bottom of the record and selects to edit one of those, they can add alt text there on the edit item interface, fill that out and hit save, and it will get added. The way we did this is we added alt_text to the file set metadata along with all the plumbing needed to index it in Solr. I didn't actually do this part, but these are the files that we edited or added. And this is an example just from fileset.rb where alt text is added there as a new metadata item. And here are some more screenshots that you can look through in this when we're done in the PowerPoint. Just some of that plumbing. For alt text, we were also able to place the alt text in the universal viewer so that screen readers will read it using ARIA label. This is hacky, like a lot of stuff with universal viewer, but when a user who uses a screen reader tabs to the universal viewer area, the screen reader will read off everything in a row, including like the labels of all the individual controls that you can see in this screenshot. And because it's all concatenated like that, we had to put the phrase alt text before it so that the user gets a little bit of heads up. Okay, this is not going to be saying that this is the zoom in button. It's going to be saying what's actually in the image. And it works. For audio and video, we took the same approach to add captions and transcriptions. This is an example video that we've got a link to here, a little short amateur film from the 50s that has captions. And so again, the user goes, well, first has to go to at the work level to go to edit the work and add a new file, upload a .vtt file or a text file. If it's captions, it has to be VTT, which is, a special format that has timestamps and the text that shows at that timestamp for a certain duration. So at the work level, they upload that file and then they go back to the list of files, list of items, and go to edit the streaming video file by assigning one of the uploaded files as captions and one of the uploaded files as transcript. Transcript will take VTT or text. So it's the same approach again, adding 2 new properties to the file set metadata, captions ID and transcript ID. If the user looks at or if a coder looks at the code for the containing item, like in the inspector, you can see a URL to the metadata. You can just see it as JSON. So anyway, like with the file set, like with the alt text, this applies at the file level. Fortunately, we don't use the IIIF viewer for video and audio. When a user interacts with it, they are always interacting at the file level when they're viewing it or listening to it. Here's some more screenshots that you can look through. I didn't have room for all the screenshots, but I tried to get a pretty representative sample, both of how the work happens on the server side with Hyrax in Ruby and how the forms are presented to the user in ERB files. So that's a really quick run through of what we're doing. Let's see, Anna, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So I was delighted when I asked Chris to co-present. They have so much content about this. We could have fit in a 20-minute presentation, but I will note with some related accessibility work that we are using these new features compatible with bulk racks because we're hoping to deploy this at scale for ingests and updates. And in case anyone's interested, we're using PDF.js for displaying PDFs, but we have noticed some gaps. So for instance, in Firefox, you can't quite see how to enable the closed captions display, which is a bit annoying. So that's something that we're hoping to resolve. And we also have transcript support for longer text that we'd like to do in image files. And the biggest caveat to be aware of is that we're still working on generating all this content to make things accessible. So unfortunately, we had to give you specific examples because this is something that we are working on as an organization, including our policies. I think we are using a IIIF viewer to answer Emily's question. I don't, yeah, and unfortunately, I am not as technically savvy to answer that question, but we can follow up. But it is the IIIF viewer. And I don't know if we're using siteimprove.com. We do have an accessibility specialist who's been reviewing stuff with our IT folks. But I want to say thank you. And unfortunately, I don't know if we have time for questions, but I do want to give a shout out to some of our colleagues, also Bill Cox and Chris Bartos, and Uzman Kebi, and Sue Beck, and Beth Snap, because it's been great to share this information.